Breaking news, UFC announcing, as we've told you many a time, it is finally official. Islam Makhachev, Ian Machado Garry, August 15th, Philadelphia, UFC 330 main event, Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Firstly, I want to say that I have nothing but respect for Islam Makhachev. Nothing. The guy's the pound for pound #1 in the world and the champion of my division. However, when you come into my division and you are the only thing that stops me, that is in the way of me achieving my dreams, I'm going to make sure that I punch a hole in your head. He's coming. He has to fight me next. There is nobody that has fought a deeper division, that has fought the guys from top to bottom. You'd name them.
I think Islam Makhachev is the most well-rounded MMA fighter presently, and he's pound for pound #1. Like everybody gives him that credit. And I've always said that he was #1.
The welterweight title clash between Islam Makhachev and Ian Garry is official for UFC 330 Inches Philadelphia, as Garry is already calling this fight to chase the title.
Islam Makhachev is the protege of Khabib. I am the protege of Conor, right? This is the new wave of Dagestan, a more technical on the feet, a more technical grappler than Khabib. I am a longer, faster, more versatile version of Conor, right? It's the perfect fight to make. He has to take me down. I have to keep it on the feet. He can choose it wherever he wants. The ball's in his court, whenever he's ready, whenever he wants. If he wants to do it in Dagestan, Russia, I will see him there. I'm not afraid of any man walking this earth, but he has to do the right thing now.
When asked if Islam would have just taken Topuria down and dominated, Mendes was confident Islam would beat Garry. He said the fight would have looked different, with Islam working inside, hunting takedowns, and exploiting weaknesses he wouldn't name publicly just in case they met later.
Would have looked different because we would have fought him on the inside too. We would have looked to taking him down. We would have looked to expose his weaknesses, which there is some which I won't mention because, you know, we may have to fight him at some point later. So I'm not going to say anything other than it would have been a different fight. But I'm very confident in Islam beating anybody within the lightweight and the welterweight division. And so for me, it's one of those things that I definitely seen something that I knew before. Everybody didn't know, but I did. Khabib knows. We knew what Islam could do.
Adding to that, Ilia Topuria weighed in on the Makhachev versus Garry matchup, and he doesn't hold back. He believes Ian Garry has a legitimate shot at pulling off the upset. While Topuria acknowledged Islam's dominance and elite resume, he pointed to Garry's length, movement, and striking accuracy as tools that could cause problems for the champion, especially if Garry can keep the fight at range and avoid getting dragged into the grappling exchanges where Islam thrives.
If Jan has chances, you mean to beat Islam?
Yeah.
It's a fight business. Everyone has chances. Everyone, and especially someone like Ian. He's been able to collect a lot of experience during his run in the UFC, and why not? I see him with a lot of chances.
Renowned MMA coach Javier Mendez makes it clear that while the potential fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria is no longer happening, he's confident in how his fighter would have approached it. Mendez also highlights that Islam's experience against top-tier competition and his ability to adapt mid-fight would have been key in neutralizing Topuria's power and pressure.
It's hard to say, but, you know, I was always very confident in Islam to be able to do what he does best, and that's beat everybody. So I always felt very confident in Islam against anybody that he fights, that he was going to be the victor. So, you know, obviously, if Islam had been able to fight Topuria, it would have been a different fight because they're entirely different skill sets, you know. And, you know, Islam's, in my opinion, is one of the smartest fighters in the business. He might very well be the #1 smartest fighter in all MMA, and he definitely, to me, he's definitely the most well-rounded.
P.T. Carroll, who's followed Garry since his amateur days, sees a real path for him, even against a fighter many consider the best in the world. It all comes down to keeping the fight where Gary's comfortable and using his reach to stay out of danger.
He has a chance, absolutely. I think, look, Islam's the best fighter in the world. It's a huge task. He'll test Ian in a way that we thought Bilal would, and he didn't. Yeah, so I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I think Ian can have a lot of success if he sticks to his long range on the outside. Absolutely. Like, you know, we've seen him do this time and time again. It's just a different beast across the cage from. Understandably, Islam is the favorite, but absolutely wouldn't rule Ian Garry out, especially after, you know what I mean, the week we've just had. Poatan and Ilia Topuria. I mean, how could you rule the dude out at this stage?
Looking ahead, Garry doubles down on his goal to dominate the welterweight division GSP style, making it clear he's not eyeing a move to middleweight anytime soon, with his focus locked entirely on ruling 170 pounds. He sees himself building a legacy at welterweight, taking on all comers and establishing a reign that stands the test of time, rather than chasing quick paydays or jumping weight classes for the sake of it.
I want to do this GSP style. I want to go through the division, dominate the division, beat every flash in the pan, beat every next #1 contender in the world, and dominate this division. I'm 28 years of age as of Monday this week. I have a decade of domination in the sport. I have no rush to move up to middleweight, my friend.
Was there something that made you surprised during the fight?
Yes, when I hit him, he would come forward. It's a weird trait, but when you have a head that big, I guess you can do it.
On that note, Garry makes his intentions clear. He says he'll beat Islam, win the title, and show respect to the champion afterwards, keeping it competitive but classy. He acknowledges Islam's accomplishments and doesn't dismiss his skill, but firmly believes his own style and preparation are enough to get the job done. For Garry, it's not about bad blood or personal animosity, it's about proving he belongs at the top and earning the belt the right way, with sportsmanship intact.
Is there a nice little sweet X factor that he's going to be ringside this Saturday?
Is he?
Yeah.
Good. I didn't know that until now, but no. To be honest, I have nothing but respect for Islam. The body of work he's done is absolutely sensational. What he's done in the lightweight division, the fact that he's come up, he's looked sensational. I'm a competitor. I've told you guys multiple times, time after time after time again, I want to be the best in the world, and to be the best, you've got to beat the best. Islam is at the tippy top of this. So I look forward to a challenge like Islam, and the truth is Bilal's a slight warm-up for that fight because Islam is better than Bilal everywhere. So this is just a perfect example of what I can do to Islam this weekend.
The betting sentiment for who holds the belt by the end of 2026 is heavily lopsided, with the vast majority of the market leaning in one clear direction. The other name, meanwhile, trails far behind in the numbers, suggesting the odds makers see it as a long shot at best.
Look at that. So they're saying who's going to be holding the belt by the end of this year, December 31st, 2026. 77% have it in favor of Islam, the champ, 20% for Carlos, 19% for Ian. So it seems as though not a lot of faith in Ian right now. Can I tell you what is probably most surprising about this? It's the thought that they think that someone is going to get a crack at Islam if he wins by the end of this year, like someone else. I mean, if history is any indication, it's usually one a year for Islam. Like, you think he's fighting August 15th and coming back by the end of the year? I mean, I guess if it's a really quick fight, but
It's not going to be a quick fight, I don't think.
it's not going to be.
James Lynch runs down the UFC 330 card in Philadelphia, a stacked night with 2 title fights, topped by a welterweight showdown. He points out that both guys earned their way in, with one riding a dominant title win and the other coming off a statement victory over a former champ. Lynch highlights the significance of the matchup, noting that the contrast in their paths to the belt adds an intriguing layer to the buildup.
Islam, amazing work in his last fight, winning the title from Jack Della Maddalena. Looked very comfortable in the weight class, not having to cut all that extra weight and worry about that. Looked very good in this matchup. Neutralized JDM. If you want to go look at the stats from that fight, again, I can't show highlights, but the stats tell us a full story here about how he really just shut out Jack Della Maddalena in this one. 30-18 as far as significant strikes. 4 of 4 takedowns. That's all he needed. And again, a very dominant performance here, winning the belt. Gary's going to be a little bit more interesting here. Very smart IQ when it comes to Garry. Knows how to game plan well, knows how to win fights. His last fight was a very solid win over Bilal Muhammad, the former champion.
Lynch breaks down Gary's ground game, noting that while he only has 1 submission win, his defensive grappling is solid enough to keep him competitive. Islam, of course, will look to take it there, but his stand-up has also evolved with knockout wins over elite names on his resume. They acknowledge Islam's resume is stacked, from Oliveira to Poirier to Volkanovski twice, making him a tough out.
Well, too, even though he's got just 1 submission, we know that he is fairly good on the ground ground as far as the defense there too. So that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Islam's going to want to take this to the ground, but Islam's stand-ups come a long way too. We've seen him get some knockout wins as well. He does have 5 to his credit. We saw him, for example, knock out Volkanovski, which was very impressive too, back in 2023. And Islam's resume, very impressive. Even the Moicano fight, you got to give him marks for that fight because that was on 24 hours notice, him getting a new opponent like that. The Poirier win was solid. Volkanovski, 2 wins over Volkanovski. Oliveira was a very dominant win.
Lynch points to Makhachev's overall level and how comfortable he looks at welterweight as the key factors, noting that Islam has settled into the division nicely and looks even more dangerous than before, with the kind of physicality and durability that tends to overwhelm opponents over 5 rounds. He expects a tactical affair where Islam's experience, pressure, and fight IQ likely carry him to a decision win, though he stops short of ruling out Gary's chances entirely, acknowledging that Gary's length and movement could cause problems if he fights a smart, disciplined fight.
On another level, we've seen upsets this year, so I'm not going to say that Gary can't win this fight. Obviously, a lot of stuff can happen, but I think Islam's got this. I think he looks like a true welterweight. He looks like someone that is very strong in the weight class. Didn't look like he missed a beat there as far as moving up. I think Islam probably takes the decision. The one thing with Gary, to his credit, hasn't been finished. I don't know if Islam will be the guy to do that. Even the Shavkat fight, we've seen Shavkat with a very good finishing ability, wasn't able to do it. Obviously, Shavkat was injured in that fight, and we haven't seen him since. But, that was still a close fight for Gary. So I think probably Islam wins the decision, but I'll do a little bit more. I will do an in-depth breakdown a little bit later here on Early Look and kind of go into the, nuts and bolts and the numbers and all that stuff. So probably think Islam wins the decision. Is it going to be like a, dominant decision? I don't know about that. I think Gary will put up a good fight, but I am leaning towards Islam.
However, Mendez shares a key piece of his coaching philosophy, reminding fighters to take care of themselves, and there's a reason behind it. Over the years, he's seen too many fighters burn themselves out in camp, pushing past the point of diminishing returns and showing up to fight night drained rather than sharp. He believes that rest and recovery are just as important as the hard work in the gym, especially for athletes who tend to overtrain out of fear or anxiety.
So we need to take care of our bodies. That's one of the biggest things that I've been able to leave Team Khabib with. If any one thing that they've learned from me, all the boys, is take care of your body and relax. Those are 2 key, very important principles that I teach. And I'm proud to say that Team Khabib has gotten those principles, and Team AKA, in San Jose with my son, Jeremy Mendez and Ron Kessler, they've gotten that idea. And we're going to be successful for many, many years to follow because of the principles of what we teach.
Meanwhile, Mendez doesn't hold back when asked about a potential Topuria-Makhachev clash, calling it probably the biggest fight in UFC history and admitting it's the one he wants most on his wish list. He reflects on the unique atmosphere such a matchup would bring, recalling the energy of being booed by the crowd while still earning their respect, and compares it to the Khabib experience where the audience would come in hostile but leave showing love. For Mendez, that kind of electric, polarizing reception is something he'd gladly welcome again.
He spoke to Ariel Helwani today and he said, I beat Max Holloway. Islam Makhachev is one of the options for me, Justin Gaethje and Islam Makhachev. Obviously, there's bad blood between the teams there, but, just how big do you think that fight would be? I mean, probably going to be the biggest fight in UFC history, right?
It could very well be the biggest fight in UFC history if that was to happen. So, to be honest with you, he brings so much to the table that if I had to want a wish list, that's the one, because I want to get that one. I want to get that one again. That feeling of being booed when we go out to the audience was pretty cool, actually, because they booed us, but they loved us.
Now, as this sets the stage for Makhachev versus Gary, MMA Guru calls Gary's reaction to the title shot one of the corniest things you'll ever see, but then flips the script. He points to recent upsets like Strickland over Chimaev and Gaethje over Topuria as proof that the impossible keeps happening. So why not Gary? Why not shock the world and schooling Makhachev over 5 rounds?
Ian Garry gets the title shot. I'm also going to go through a video in a second of his response to getting a title shot against Islam Makhachev. One of the corniest things you ever will see. He just can't help himself, but maybe, just maybe, despite him being against the odds, because we know Islam Makhachev's going to be a favorite here, maybe, just maybe, the boys and co do it again. Okay? Hear me out. Strickland pulled it off against Chimaev. Gaethje just pulled off the impossible against Ilia Topuria. And you're telling me that I shouldn't pick Ian Machado Garry to defeat Islam Makhachev in the main event and school him over 5 rounds?
Giving his prediction, Guru leans toward Ian Garry because he believes Garry's movement and range control present a stylistic puzzle that Makhachev hasn't faced before at welterweight. He points to Islam's leg-kicking strategy against JDM as effective in that specific matchup, but argues that Garry's footwork and ability to stay at distance make him a much harder target to pin down. The host also suggests that Makhachev's kicking game might lose its effectiveness if Garry can consistently circle off and avoid the fence, potentially forcing Islam into a striking exchange where Garry has the edge in speed and reach.
You pick Ian Garry, like we ain't seen the recent events that we've seen. I'm gonna go with Ian Garry, dude. I think he's gonna be too elusive on the feet. I don't think Makhachev's gonna be able to kick at range against him and do that effectively. And I think it's big danger for Makhachev on the feet, man. At range, listen, against JDM's the same size as Makhachev. Maybe a slight bit taller than him, but they're about the same frame, same size. Makhachev went to the legs of JDM, you know, knowing that he was going to have that stance, and we've seen that, you know, JDM's low kick defense isn't what it's all cracked up.
On top of that, Garry drops a couple of notable stats during the interview. He tied the record for the most wins in Irish UFC history, putting him alongside some of the country's biggest names in the sport. He also claims to have defended more takedowns than anyone in welterweight history during this particular fight, highlighting his defensive wrestling as a major factor in his recent success.
Welterweight history in one fight. Now that's a stat. There we go.
There we go. Congratulations. With that stats setting aside,
I also set another stat tonight, right?
Tell me.
I've just tied the most wins in Irish MMA history
10
in
with
the
Conor,
UFC.
right?
I'm tied 10. That's going to be broken pretty soon. So I'm winning fights. I'm breaking records. I'm tying records of the greatest that have ever done this sport. I'm 28 years of age.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen points out a bigger issue in the welterweight division. It's lacking star power, with only Garry and Covington really moving the needle. He criticizes the lack of aggressive callouts, noting that nobody is truly lobbying for the Islam fight the way they should be. Sonnen argues that in a division with so much talent, there's a surprising silence when it comes to chasing the biggest opportunities, and that lack of ambition hurts the weight class as a whole. He suggests that fighters need to be more vocal and proactive if they want to build the kind of buzz that turns contenders into pay-per-view draws.
But if you were to give Garry that matchup, what do you do with Kamaru Usman? It's an interesting thing. And 170, you have some guys that are very good, but you've only got 2 stars in the whole division between Colby and Garry. That's the reality. Oh, gee, Chael, why do you say that? Well, because none of them call each other out. It's as boring as watching paint dry. I got no heat with Morales. When Morales sees this, I don't want him to think Chael's taking a shot at him. But if there's a rumor that Dana White told Morales, you're next, whether it happened or not, if that rumor is out there, Morales should have knocked that ball out of the park.
And there you have it, MMA fans. What a battle between Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry. From the opening bell to the final horn, both men showed why they're among the elite in the sport. The skill, the adjustments, and the determination on display made this a fight that fans won't forget anytime soon. Now all eyes turn to the future. If Islam gets the victory, does he continue his run toward even more championship success? And if Ian pulls off the upset, where does that rank among the biggest wins of his career? The result of this fight could have major implications across multiple divisions. But what do you think? Did the right man win? Who should Islam face next? And where does Ian go from here after sharing the cage with one of the sport's top fighters? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more UFC news, fight breakdowns, and post-fight reactions. Thanks for watching.